group. So how can MPP become a party from a legal basis if it's already an established corporation? That's my first question.
I think that question is probably beyond either of our pay grades at this point. I mean, we do have lawyers that are working on this. I haven't done the research into that, but I mean, the idea is we are creating a new entity that will be the party. We are not changing into that party. There will also be MPP, and whatever party we create will exist next to each other.
Earlier on, you did mention that you were looking
So
for...
MPP is set up as an organizing fundraising effort to create a separate party that's not the People's Party.
Right. Right now, we're a movement for a People's Party. We're not technically a party. So that's what we're looking to do in the coming months, is to establish ourselves as an actual political party.
Okay.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier on that you were looking for an official name for a party. So I gather that's probably come from the legal side.
That's going to be decided upon by our membership. So there's already a lengthy thread in our forum, from what I understand, of potential party names, but we're going to be putting that to our membership to choose in the coming months.
Okay. Let's see. I've got a whole bunch of notes here.
I guess one question is, you said that you sent in requests for email and requests for information and you didn't get any response. What do you guys think is the reason for that? Is it just too much growth?
What email did you send it to? And yes, we have been experiencing a lot of growth in the last 4 to 6 months for sure.
I sent it through the peoplesparty.org website.
Okay.
You've got a contact us link or form link.
It says get involved.
That may go to we have to figure out where that goes. That may go to the organizing email. I'm not entirely sure at the moment.
And that's probably something, obviously you don't want to piss anybody off that makes a request. And, maybe that's something that needs to be concentrated on a little bit better. I don't know,
I would agree with you. There's a lot of stuff we need to concentrate on better. And that's one of the reasons that we're trying to build this, and get more people involved so that we can, for the last couple months, there's been a small amount of people doing a heck of a lot more work than we should be doing.
And the way that people who want to get involved would just be to sign up, go to that, I think it's a volunteer link. I'm not on the page right now. And then there are things like groups that you can be in and things like that. That's where you need help, like for people to join the groups, the different groups that you have listed.
Yes. So most people are plugging in through, peoplesparty.org/volunteer. And then, yes, as you described, the work happens in working groups. So we have the different working groups, action, tech, media and messaging, political outreach, and creative arts right now. Right. So that's where the actual work gets done.
So that's how we would help, if we would just sign up for one of the working groups?
Well, that's if you want to help on the national level. Todd and I are focusing on building on the local level. So that's a different side. That's our, hub organizing. So we're definitely looking for people to get involved with that as well, building on the local effort. I'd say that's one of our, main thrusts right now, is to try and build our local hubs and get people involved on the local level.
Okay, is that something like we would wait until, our memberships took the vote and say, we want to be part of the movement for a People's Party, and then we fill out the paperwork, and then we're going to have a statewide call at some point, right? So should we like kind of hold off for that to see about what to do for the hubs? As a part of
I mean,
I would say that.
Go ahead, Todd.
I would say that doesn't preclude anybody from joining. I mean, we're talking about two separate issues. You know, you as individual volunteers are more than willing to come and join, and you even start the hub as one or two people. But, you know, if the group in its entirety is going to vote to switch over, that's something else. I would say, you know, you could kind of do everything at the same time. There's no reason we would exclude you from a state's call. You know, and I don't know, what do you think the time frame in turning, you know, having the group vote and anything, what that would kind of be my question, you know.
I would think, you know, in the next meeting or two, we probably would do a vote because, you know, we do have, you know, a Facebook group, or Western New York Progressives.com Facebook group or whatever. And there's probably 300 people in that. Now, a lot of them are just in there, you know, for the chat, and, you know, and maybe some of them are inactive at this point. But I suppose if we, you know, decided to name ourselves, you know, the Movement for the People's Party of Western New York, hopefully, you know, that would energize more people to join up. So.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So
the question was about, we would definitely have a membership decision within a couple of weeks, because we do weekly meetings.
Yeah, I would think, you know, unless somebody has an objection to that, but, you know, we might do, you know, talk about it tonight after we're done talking to the two reps from MPP, but.
Yeah, so I mean, to my mind, there's no reason you couldn't kind of go down both paths at once. So those of you who wanted to sign in to volunteer, we could, you know, if you thought you could get it done quickly and we were going to then wait for a state call to announce you, that's one thing, and you know, maybe we should talk about that. I don't think have we had a New York State call yet, Phil?
Not yet. That's something I'm looking to get lined up in the next, probably not next week, but the week after.
So then, yeah, we're kind of on a similar time frame, I would say.
Okay.
This quiet. In the chat, you'll find all the counties of Western New York, and a map I put in there too, so you know what we'll talk about with Western New York. And by the way, just for the sake of disclosure, I hit the little record button, so this is being recorded right now. Just so everyone knows, I know what thing flashes, but in case you didn't notice it, yeah, it's being recorded.
Okay.
Greg has a question, I see. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I had a question about ballot access plans for New York State. I don't know if you guys have been following, you know, what got passed in April, and you know how it's become much more difficult for third parties to gain ballot access in New York State. So, yeah, I just wondered if you can talk a little bit about that.
So we have a team that works specifically on ballot access. So I'd imagine they're up on what's required for us to get ballot access. But yes, we are under no disillusion that we are going to face an uphill battle against these two parties who want to maintain their hold on the system. So, I mean, you may have heard, you know, about the Democrats kicking the Greens off the ballot, or getting the Greens off the ballot. And I know Pennsylvania, and from what I understand, a few other states. So we definitely know we will have challenges ahead as far as becoming a new party.
Well, we still have the Working Families Party on the ballot here.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know much about them.
The Working Families Party was established initially in the early 70s as the last remnant of the old Progressive Party. When the New York State Progressive Party, they didn't formally disbanded, but they just stopped functioning. the New York City chapter of that party became the Working Families Party, and it spread out of the city from there.
Okay.
I've been doing quite a bit of history over the last several months.
You're very handy to know. Thank you.
This group has been researching and discussing ranked choice voting. Is the MPP interested at all in promoting that?
Absolutely. Ranked choice voting is probably going to be one of the keys to our success, which is why we're super focused on making sure we get ballot access in Maine, who already has ranked choice voting, as well as supporting getting our people out in Massachusetts, where we're pretty strong to support the ballot initiative they have there for ranked choice voting. Because, yeah, I think ranked choice voting will be one way crucial to us having victory to avoid the fear of the spoiler effect.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've heard back from exactly one of the local politicians here, those who are candidates, and that was Karen McMahon, who said she is in full agreement with ranked choice voting for New York. So there's one anyway. The others just gave me a nice polite thank you for your interest. I'll be getting back to you.
So just a heads up, Todd and I have a meeting we need to jump on at 8 o'clock. So
okay.
If we can stay for a few minutes if there's a lot of questions, but we just wanted to let everybody know and make sure we take on any other questions that are out there.
Any other pertinent questions? The only one I have is we talked about the weekly national calls and having notes taken on it and emailed out or whatever. Is that going to happen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I remember that suggestion from last week, and I looked at the agenda and thought about taking notes, but I was too busy answering the Q&A at last week's call. But yes, that's definitely something I'm going to throw out there for us for summary. Todd, in short, they were asking for like notes from national calls.
Right. Although
just to summarize.
Most of them should be up on our YouTube channel. And I just want to quickly apologize to Roger. I did look up. Apparently, we are a super PAC. I was not I did not know that. So yes, technically, that's it was an interesting thing you brought to my attention. Thank you. And I got to jump off to lead another meeting. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Todd.
All right. See you then.
Had a call come in just at that moment. I didn't hear what he said.
They are a super PAC.
527, yeah. Super PACs fall under 5, or super PACs, 527 super PACs fall under them. So you're correct on that.
Technically.
How super are you?
Oh, not super enough to make a splash, that's for sure. on a financial level.
Right.
So not compared to the money that these super PACs have. No way.
So the MPP does not endorse candidates at this point. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we haven't endorsed any candidates. We didn't want to fall into the trap that the DSA primarily supports Democratic candidates. Since we're trying to form our own party, we don't want to get in the habit of endorsing candidates from other parties.
Understandable. For what it's worth, by the way, the Working Party is just it's a second line for the Democrats. That's what it ends up functioning as. Every time I look at a ballot, that's what's there.
And
Any other
501c4.
Hello. Any other questions for the?
Can't endorse anyone, or they would lose their tax exempt status.
It's supposed to be just issues.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions in particular?
Basically, how could we get to having a vote? The sooner the better, I see.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I vote yes.
And And Dan, if there are any additional questions, you're in Slack and you have my email. You can send them there, and I'll get back to you and answer them. So.
All right. Well,
I'm in Slack.
Well, I'm sorry.
Bill, thanks for joining us, and
Yes, thank you.
Thanks everybody for your questions and for considering it. Hopefully we can, whether or not you join MPP, I hope we can link arms, because it seems like the issues that we agree upon, a lot of the same issues. So
Indeed.
Definitely.
All right.
Yep.
All right, friends. Be well. Talk soon.
Be well.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, I didn't know it was so long.
Who else do we have?
Most of our people, haven't we?
Pretty rough.
Let's
So
see.
who's winning the football game? Anybody know?
Oh, so
No, and I don't care.
I know that Roger is from Oklahoma, so you can vote Roger if you want, but
Well, should we put it out to
I
the,
think that would. I certainly appreciate that you give me the chance just to weigh in and comment. But as far as my concern, it's, you've seen the post that I've made on multiple groups, over through Facebook and Twitter. And my thing is there are so many groups within the movement all working to do the same thing, but they're not working with each other. My concern is if New York decides to jump on with MPP and Massachusetts decides to jump on with the National Progressive Party, and California links up with the Oregon Progressive Party, and no one has, essentially we've got 6 different organizations all do the same thing. Picking one and just saying I'm all in without
you're breaking up a lot, Roger.
at the bigger
audio.
New York and nationwide, it's going to end up biting all of us in the foot.
Yeah.
So my personal advocacy within these groups is, why are we trying to set up a national organization before the state organizations are even exist?
Mm-hmm.
Create a New York Progressive Party. That's it. I'm working within the groups in Oklahoma to do just that. Not affiliated with any, just an Oklahoma Progressive. And then once all the states have parties in place, then we can collectively say we are, bound together in common cause, not a top-down direction. We are the national, so you must do this in this state and that state.
Mm-hmm.
but then how do you run a
all the
national,
groups
then how do you run a
are
national
kind of
campaign
doing
for
it.
president? If it's all separate if it's all separate state parties, how do you run a national campaign for for president for 2024?
I just don't think that any of the groups are there yet.
No.
I think we just have to let those groups, let them let the best one rise to the top. But I know that the National Party isn't there yet.
Yeah,
none of them are there. They all have strengths and weaknesses, but they're different strengths and different weaknesses.
Yeah.
But as far as the question is, how do you run national campaigns? The national parties. Well, now the DNC has incorporated itself, but that's a fairly new thing. But national parties technically not a group in and of themselves. There are 50 different parties who nominate one individual at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
The Oklahoma Democratic Party is incorporated. The Mississippi Democratic Party is incorporated. All the 50 Democratic parties together nominate individually. The National Democratic Party, doesn't exist. It's a committee selected by the individual state parties. That's how the process is supposed to run. But what these groups have been doing, NPP and Vermont's Outreach Group and MPP and the PIP, they've all trying to create a national organization, a leadership with no membership in the state. I think all the groups are doing it backwards. I think New York should focus on just creating a New York party, just like I'm trying to do in Oklahoma, and not signing signing the dotted line with any larger group.
What the MPP, they just said, is they're offering their expertise and of resources on helping us organize a party here. We would be affiliated with them using their resources.
But it doesn't seem like they have resources yet.
Got more than we do. And they're willing to share what they got.
Well, they do. They have lawyers with stuff, which is.
There was one, and I know for it, I meant to ask them while they were still on, but there was a concern with an individual affiliated with Vermont who had apparently the DNC, the DNC's Action Network, which is their collection of membership profiles and donor base. Donor list. Apparently, MPP and the DNC had shared information, and anyone that had in the fourth quarter 2019, anyone that had donated to MPP prior to that was on the list of potential donors that was sold to the DNC.
Wow.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay.
And that information is available on the IRS website as their fourth quarter 2019 financial filings.
Aha. Okay. Starting to make some sense now. I was wondering what that scandal was all about.
Yes, they have resources, but it's not their resources.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a number of things that I specifically wanted to share with you because I communicate with you through Facebook and everything, but and I'm having the same conversations with Ellie Spawn and Nick Clark and all the other groups, with really in depth because my name is important to me. And I don't want to attach my name to a group that's not all above board. And not everything I see here is above board. They say that they don't operate like a super PAC, but fourth quarter 2017, they had an unidentified donation of $35,660. So that was not an individual, that was a corporation because it was undisclosed by name. Second quarter 2020, 18,842. Second quarter 2018 was 9,343. And there's a number of these, and all this information is readily available on the IRS website by searching for People for a Working Democracy.
Ah, okay.
My real concern is they are it seems to me, and I'm not privy to the internal workings of MPP. I've tried to get in touch with them, as I've explained, but I get nothing back. Maybe I'm asking the wrong questions. But I've got, just in the last hour before the call started, I logged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 unidentified contributions in excess of $5,000 each over the last 3 years. I mean, it's not a lot, but those are donations and that's why they're organized as a super PAC, because we don't know where they came from.
Well, they're doing a hell of a lot better than we are, Brian.
And another thing, the People for a Working Democracy, the actual organization that runs MPP, they're set up as a corporation with a board, which has 4 people. And they had the option of setting up as a membership board versus a director board. Membership board is where, all the members have the ability to vote on, the way the organization is run. Which most legitimate nonprofits do. A director board is where you have, 1 person or 3 people or 5 people telling everyone else how to do their jobs with no ability. It's like an ownership. And between Steven Scapelliti, Nick Branna, Carol Urey, Rod Branna, and Tiffany Anning are the 5 individuals listed on the board. And they are answerable only to themselves. So if there's a big, massive, rise up of, we don't like what you're doing, we would have no recourse if we had signed up with them.
Wow.
I see.
Well, as it stands now, though, the sign up is not binding, if I'm understanding what they were saying. You just walk away. You just disassociate.
Well, what I think for our group is that if we officially sign up with someone and then we walk away, that makes us look less less credible.
There is that.
Like
everybody, half a dozen people on Skype.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Said if we don't sign, what you said is true, but if we don't sign up with somebody, we are simply half a dozen people on Skype. We're nobody.
I'd rather be nobody than the wrong people.
Perfect example.
I wonder if you could contact anybody in New York City. They already have a hub.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Washington State. Tyler Vager is the current chairman over there for the Washington, and they began in 1980 with literally 5 people. It was 5 people. They, filed the necessary paperwork, and they went knocking door to door to get signatures. And they've been on the ballot in Washington State every year since. And now there's, I think the last time I looked last month, it was some 130,000 people, registered as progressives in Washington State, while their last governor candidate had 2.3% of the vote, and that was state. That one party that was started 40 years ago with 5 people. Vermont was similar. It started as a, in the city of Burlington, Vermont. It was a little bit bigger, but it was only the one city, and it spread out, included the state. Now they've got a party member as the lieutenant governor of that state.
That's the Vermont Progressive Party, correct?
Correct. Vermont, Washington, and Oregon are the three states that have currently ballot access active parties. There's a handful of other states. Is Oregon don't have ballot. So that's one thing is you don't have to sign up with the big guys just because they're angling money or the resources you have are your neighbors, your next door neighbor's front door. And if you got you've got a dozen people on Skype, so you got 12 people. If each of those 12 people can talk to 5. Next week, you'll have 100 people. Have those 100 people talk to that 500 people. And just keep it local so that once you are established within your state, then you can decide in 2 years when there are 30 or 40 individual state parties, do all of our state parties want to come together and have a nominating convention? Or do we want to keep running as an independent entities? But Green Party was first created in 1964. They finally got national recognition in 1991. Did it backwards. They did it in the same way that MPP and NPP are trying to do now.
Okay.
Well, all the successful parties in history, Republicans, the original Democratic Party created by Andrew Jackson, and the 1912 Progressive Party started from the states, national. It didn't go the other way around. That's why I'm saying all 6 of these movements, which are in attention, are all doing it backwards.
Well, you put a lot of things for us to think about, I guess, at this point.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks for the history lesson.
No, I totally appreciate your perspective on it, Roger, for sure. It's a lot to think about, and appreciate the angle.
And it may come to, because ballot access is determined within the state legislature, or in your case, the New York Assembly. That's where the rule is who is a party. And what it may come down to is, 2021, 2022, depending on how you're run as a Democrat to get to all. Once you
I'm losing audio. I'm losing audio from Roger.
Because we have one of the most restrictive requirements in the entire.
We're losing you, Roger. We're losing you.
Well, we should probably
Sorry.
table this and meet next Tuesday anyway.
Yeah, let's do that. I think we should.
Yeah.
I like the street level thinking Roger's got going there. I think we should discuss it all next week. See if we can build a consensus.
I second the motion.
I'm in with a meeting with NPP tomorrow. So information I glean from there, I can pass relevant details on to y'all if you would like.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great.
All right, guys.
All
From
right.
you
Thank you
again.
very much.
All right.
Everybody.
Thank you, Roger. Everybody.
Since-
See you next week.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll, I guess I'll try to sharpen up what link we use and we can always call in, instead of having the video, because I think the video takes up more bandwidth than makes the audio choppy. I don't know, who knows, but.
I don't think it's helped us a great deal, but anyway, I was happy with Jitsi, but that's just me.
Well, I know some people had issues with that too. So I think it has more to do with maybe your own equipment and your Wi-Fi setup. That might have something to do with it. But.
Yeah. I'm going to be upgrading my computer soon, so I should be able to jump back onto Jitsi.
Yeah.
My old Mac it doesn't want to go any further.
Actually, I have no problems with Zoom, even though we did have to do it in 2 sections. That worked smoothly.
Yeah.
That, rather than having to log in twice, that were actually didn't have a lot of technical glitches.
Which
I agree. Hey, if it's the $40, whatever it was, a quarter. What was the cost on that? I'll pass
15 a
on.
month, I think it was.
$15 a month for Zoom.
How many of us are there? I can toss a few bucks in.
Yeah, sure. I'm game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
We're
talk
going to
about that
have
next
to
week.
do the 2-section thing on the freebies. Minimal technical problems on that.
Yeah.
Had to log in twice.
Yeah.
Everyone stay tuned for our second half. Be back up to work from our sponsor. I don't know what it was like.
Yeah.
You go out to the kitchen and get something during the commercials anyways.
Yep.
Well, yeah, again, if you're trying to access this with your cell phone or if you don't have a beefier computer, I don't think it matters if you're using Zoom or Jitsi or Skype or any of them. It just, I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, if somebody wants to pay for the first $15 and start the Zoom, go ahead.
All right. Got me in.
But if not, I'll continue with Skype and send out the information with Skype. So, all right.
Okay. Is Brian still there?
Who?
Brian.
Yeah, I'm here.
I see that you recorded a good chunk of that meeting. Will you have that somewhere that we could listen to it again? Because I'd sort of like to review what happened there.
The recordings are available in chat for up to 30 days.
Available in chat. How do I get there? How do I save it?
Go to the chat thing, and I don't know how you pull it out. I checked this out last time.
Okay. I'll work on it.
Saved a little bit of it, record a little bit of it, and went online to find out where they hide it. And it's actually in the chat. I think you could probably download it from the chat. Let me check. Should be right now. I'm going to turn.
Don't worry about it.